dedicated my life to studying the core laws that dictate the nature of reality. My career has been spent translating the complex syntax of the universe into human language, delving into string theory, quantum mechanics, and the very fabric of space-time. I have always held the conviction that the universe follows logical principles we can eventually decipher. But 3 days ago, that foundation was rocked by an object we have been tracking with increasing dread, an anomaly designated 3I Atlas. When the asteroid terrestrial impact last alert system in Hawaii first picked up 3I Atlas, it was categorized as a standard interstellar comet. It was only the second visitor of its kind ever recorded, following the enigmatic Oumuamua. While Oumuamua baffled us with its strange acceleration and flat dimensions, 3I Atlas initially seemed unremarkable. It appeared to follow a standard trajectory. Its signature matched our models of spaceborne ice and dust. We published our findings and looked away. We were catastrophically mistaken. The anomaly activates at precisely 11:47 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. 3I Atlas shifted its course by 17.3 degrees. This wasn't a slow drift caused by solar wind. It was an instantaneous, deliberate maneuver. Then, 41 minutes later, something emerged from its geometric center. I want to be very clear about the word emerged. This was not a discharge of gas or a fragment breaking off due to heat. Every one of the 14 astronomers I've consulted in the last 3 days agrees on a terrifying reality. Something inside 3I Atlas turned on. Something that had been lying dormant during its multi-million-year journey through the void finally woke up upon reaching our inner solar system. The Deep Space Network captured the first sign of life. 3 distinct radio observatories, Goldstone in California, Canberra in Australia, and Madrid in Spain, all locked onto the same electromagnetic pulse. It was a broad-frequency burst originating exactly from the coordinates of 3I Atlas. But it was the spectrograph analysis that made my hands tremble. The signal wasn't the chaotic noise of a dying star or a pulsar. It was structured. It contained repeating mathematical sequences that our AI systems flagged instantly. Prime numbers. The first 64 prime numbers were transmitted in a clean binary sequence. This was followed by a stream of data we are still struggling to translate. A language we don't speak, containing a message we were likely never supposed to intercept. Engineered reality spent the last 72 hours in my study, surrounded by readouts of this transmission, haunted by one question: why now? Interstellar visitors are impossibly rare. Before 2017, we had never confirmed a single one. Then, in the blink of a cosmic eye, we get 2. At first, we called it a statistical fluke. But now, seeing what has breached from the core of 3I Atlas, I'm forced to weigh a hypothesis more frightening than any equation. What if these objects weren't random debris? What if they were sent? Data from our infrared telescopes shows that the material exiting the core of the object violates the periodic table. Its spectroscopic lines suggest an atomic structure that shouldn't exist in our version of physics. My peers are calling it exotic matter, but that's just a mask for our ignorance. This material appears engineered. If 3I Atlas is a vessel rather than a comet, we must ask, who is the architect? And why did it wait to activate until it was within striking distance of Earth? The impossible trajectory. On December 29th at 2 a.m., I spoke with Dr. Elena Rossi at JPL. She had been running the object's path backward through the galaxy. She looked ghost white on the screen. According to her calculations, 3I Atlas originated from a G-type star system roughly 310 light-years away, a sun almost identical to our own, with a confirmed planet in the habitable zone that IT traveled for eons across the vacuum, originating from a place that mirrors the conditions that allowed human life to begin. But the math gets stranger. Natural objects follow messy paths influenced by gravity and light pressure. 3I Atlas's path was perfectly ballistic. It wasn't drifting, it was aimed. The signal repeats every 14 hours and 37 minutes. Teams at MIT and Cambridge are finding layers within the data, much like Russian nesting dolls. The outer shell is the prime numbers, a universal hello. Beneath their geometric proofs, chemical blueprints, and a map. A map of our solar system where Earth is specifically highlighted. The revelation of the sphere 3 days ago, I was a skeptic regarding alien visitation. I viewed the UFO phenomenon through the lens of psychology and atmospheric mirages. But science demands we follow the evidence, even when it shatters our worldview. The breach occurred at the object's closest approach to us, just inside Earth's orbit. The OSIRIS-REx spacecraft was perfectly positioned to take high-resolution photos. When I saw them, I had to sit down. The core of 3I Atlas didn't crack. It opened. 6 symmetrical segments peeled back like a metallic flower, revealing an interior glowing with a blue-white light. Ankh-T, the center, held in a massive magnetic field, sits a sphere 12 meters in diameter. It is perfectly smooth and reflective, rotating on an axis that ignores local gravity. Every major government is currently moving satellites to watch this sphere while they figure out how to spin the story to the public. That is why I'm speaking to you now, before the official narrative is sanitized. The countdown here is the part that keeps me awake. 47 hours ago, a team at the rebuilt Arecibo station sent a simple mathematical pulse back to the object, an acknowledgement that we heard them 0.4 hours and 12 minutes later. The message changed. The prime numbers stopped. In their place came a countdown, a base 10 numerical sequence, descending by the second. As of this recording, it is at 41 hours. What happens when it hits 0? We don't know. But the prevailing theory among those with classified access is that 3I Atlas is a test. The prime numbers were the first phase. Can we recognize math? The geometry was the second. Do we understand physics? Our reply was the third. Are we listening? By answering, we signaled our readiness. Now, they're counting down to the reveal. The cosmic quarantine imagine a civilization millions of years ahead of us. To them, we are a young species just beginning to broadcast our presence. Perhaps they have been waiting for us to hit a specific technological threshold. 3I Atlas arrived at the exact moment we developed the tools to see it. Not 50 years ago, when we would have missed it, and hopefully not 50 years from now, if we've already destroyed ourselves. This is intentional timing. As I record this, the UN Security Council is in a permanent session. NASA is holding press conferences where they claim the object is just thermal fracturing, but we know better. People worldwide are reporting synchronized dreams, a sphere opening, a voiceless presence. This suggests the transmission might be interacting with human consciousness itself through quantum entanglement. The final lesson: if 3I Atlas took 2 million years to get here, it was launched when Homo habilis was first picking up stone tools. They knew we would be here today. They predicted our evolution with surgical precision. The sphere's material is currently being studied at CERN. It exists in a superposition, phasing through containment fields as if it's a three-dimensional shadow of a higher-dimensional object. It draws power from dimensions we can't even see. Why ET.is this a welcoming committee or an evaluation? Are we being judged for our violence and our treatment of our planet? In 41 hours, human history will be divided into 2 eras. Before contact and after that, I hope they see our art, our music, and our capacity for growth. I hope they recognize that consciousness is precious, no matter how primitive. The countdown is ticking. The universe is about to answer the oldest question we've ever asked. What do you believe is inside that sphere? If you could send one final message to the creators of 3I Atlas, what would it be? Comment below, because in 41 hours, they might finally be listening. Would you like me to expand on the specific quantum entanglement section of the script to make it sound more scientifically detailed?